The White House says President Trump is open to meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy together. The New York Times has reported that Trump told European leaders he wants to meet with Putin next week, and then possibly all three presidents would get together shortly thereafter. That's according, again, to the New York Times. We are just 2 days out from the White House's meeting President Trump's deadline for Russia to reach a peace deal with Ukraine. If that doesn't happen, the president has threatened to impose severe economic penalties on Moscow and countries that buy its oil. One of those countries, very big one, India. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Putin today at the Kremlin, and Trump said that conversation was, quote, highly productive. Weijia Jiang joins me now here at the family table. So glad to have you, and thank you for sitting in for me yesterday. I appreciate it very much.
It's always my pleasure, Major.
Weijia, what can you tell us about what we learned today? This feels like it might have some momentum beneath it.
Well, the White House says there was, quote, great progress made in that meeting between Witkoff and Putin. And to your point, the timing is not accidental. They only have 2 days before the deadline comes, which is tomorrow, that Trump imposed for Putin to do something. And we've been reporting that for weeks now, he's been increasingly frustrated with Putin, to the point where he said, you know what, I don't even want to talk to him anymore because it's clear that he doesn't want to do anything to end this conflict. So the fact that now Trump and the White House are saying, wait a minute, it looks like there's progress being made, that is significant, but it also could give them cover, Major, if the president does not want to actually implement those sanctions that you just brought up, because we're talking about India, we're talking about China, Brazil. These are the countries that buy Russian oil. These are countries that are trying to secure a trade deal with the U.S. that the U.S. also very much wants. And so that is an additional complicated layer. But you're right in that the president wants to end this war. He said it was going to be easy before he came to office. And then he said, well, Putin has been much more of a problem than I thought he would be. So the fact that he's not turning around completely, but at least turning to look the other way, to come back toward let's work on this together, is significant.
And Volodymyr Zelenskyy stands out to me in the last couple of 48 hours because there was a conversation before and a conversation after. And that kind of, if not coordination, certainly cooperation in terms of checking notes before, comparing them afterwards, indicates a kind of closeness that we were not observing 3 or 4 months ago.
Not only that, closeness between, two principals here, but also sharing notes with key allies. We know that the president got on the phone with the Prime Minister of the UK, with the Chancellor of Germany, with the Secretary General of NATO to talk about this very substantial meeting between Putin and Witkoff. Now, we don't know for certain that he said, I plan to meet with Putin and Zelenskyy, or put a time frame on that. But as you mentioned, he says he is open to meeting with both of those leaders because he wants to broker an end to the conflict. But yes, to your point, Major, we all remember the Oval Office,
yep,
of course. So the fact that now, Trump is so willing to be in close contact with Zelenskyy shows, that he has sort of repaired that relationship. Zelenskyy has somehow gotten back in good graces. And I think that's in big part because, as Trump continues to mention, Putin is not coming to the table. Well, at least he wasn't. So we'll have to see how much real progress is made.
And also the White House will, of course, be monitoring any other military actions Russia takes in Ukraine in the next couple, 3 days, because that always ticks the president off when there's a conversation and then there's some additional bombardment, drone or otherwise. Weijia Jiang, as always, thank you very much.
You're welcome.